Right, welcome everyone to the Paketo Working Group meeting. I'm glad to see you here. I share my screen and we'll get started. Sharing again the link for the notes and the agenda in case you don't have it handy. All right. Again, feel free to add yourself to that in this list, including your affiliation, especially if it's not VMware. Okay, for this session, is there anyone who would like to be a note taker?
I can take notes today.
Thank you, Sophie. Cool. All right. Yeah, seems like no new faces. Okay, great. So let's get started with the outstanding RFCs. There are some RFCs here and a couple of new RFCs. So, let's get started with the health checker Buildpack RFC. He already has an approval from the utilities team, but wondering if there's any comment or update around this one.
I think last time we said Dan and I needed to talk about some of the details here. We've not gotten a chance to talk about it. Do you have anything to add on this, Dan?
I think there were a couple comments. I was out last week though, and I have not had a chance to circle back and
Sorry, this has been
first one.
dragging on for a while. I feel like all the outstanding things are pretty minor and we should just wrap it up.
Yeah. I'm excited about this one though. I saw Kubernetes is adding or added health checking support for gRPC. So I think this kind of is it's just kind of another reason that we need something like this for non-Kubernetes platforms.
Yeah. We're going to be ahead of the curve.
Hopefully.
Okay, thank you. Right, next one, the support for Yarnberry. There were some comments from last week. Okay, wondering if there's any update or any discussion we held around this RFP.
I remember from last week is Tim mentioned there might be a change in direction that would affect the answers to some of these questions, but I don't know if that's been updated in the RFC yet.
Got it. Yeah, it's still in progress. Okay, next one, the live reload library.
I missed the notification a couple days ago that this has 2 approvers now, so it can be merged. And I'll do that. But there's no outstanding conversation on it.
Great. Okay to merge. Thank you. Okay, next one, the family of dependency management RFCs.
I went in, well, Josh and I went in and made some updates to the RFCs since the last time we talked about this. So I'm a little bit more solidified on the plan now after we put together a proof of concept and made sure what we were describing would actually work in practice. So we're looking for, just any of the open comments to be addressed. I think I've responded to all of them, or Josh has. And then I think that there was also some outstanding questions for Dan regarding how Java does dependencies and if we'll be able to reconcile the differences between Java and non-Java build packs with this plan. So if you could take a look at this sometime, Dan, and either we can sync up about it at the working group, or you can just leave comments, whatever works. But I think that's like a key piece of information that we're missing from here as to whether this will work for all of the build packs or not.
Sure. Yeah, I can take a look. Sorry, I must have missed that. I had a million things in my inbox.
No worries. These are pretty hefty. I mean, there's 4 of them, so happy to chat through them. I also am planning to do like a little walkthrough of stuff just for the core team because I realize RFCs are like a little chunky. So I can also add you to that and we can go through stuff if it's just more of a time saver.
Yeah, no, that would be great. I'd be happy to join that.
The reason I think we should have that conversation is both because we're trying to move everything to be more consistent across the project. So if we're approving a new thing, I think we should definitely approve something that we can roll out for all the build packs, not everything but Java. But also I think the Java build pack sort of like conceptualizes this differently, where you start sort of by, like PRing deps directly into build pack toml, and then the jobs update them rather than thinking about it as adding or removing. So I think it could be interesting sort of just to get an overview for everyone else of how all the pipeline builder stuff works in Java, and then talk about some of the pros and cons there.
All right. Any other comment around the dependency management RFCs? No. Okay, next up, new RFC, the new feature checklist RFC. This one by Forrest. Yeah, already has some comments here, but wondering if someone wants to discuss anything around this proposal.
It's in the middle of a review on this one. And I guess when Forrest is back, I sort of want to talk about the different personas here. I feel like as a checklist, I don't know if in lots of situations when we're talking about like external contributors or new contributors, we would really be expecting those people to take responsibility for all the items in the checklist. So sort of want to talk about like who the intended audience for the checklist is. And how we divide those responsibilities. Like, do we need multiple checklists? And then do we want to separate sort of feature request process from feature contribution process rather than sort of combining it all together?
Right. That sounds great. Any other comment? Oh. All right. Next one. This fairly new RFC, remove dep and dep ensure build packs. Also from Forest. Yeah, pretty recent comment. So anything additional that you would like to comment here, discuss here? No.
I think all these comments are basically saying the same thing, which is we should figure out how to make the fact that this is deprecated clear to folks for a window before we rip it out.
All right. Great, thank you, Emily. And finally, the .NET Core remote debugging support proposal.
Yeah, so since Ryan is out, I'm kind of like the proxy representing this RFC today. It's pretty short and sweet if you pull up that for a second. Yeah, so it kind of extends the earlier RFC that talks generally about how we want to do remote debugging in the project. That's the RFC that's linked there in the proposal section, number 37. In this case, I guess like the interesting thing to understand is that we're going to be installing the Visual Studio Debugger tool as part of some build plans, and that like additional tool will be like executable by the process that wants to attach to it. So if you're curious about how this stuff works, you can read the source material or prior art that's in the bottom of the RFC that like explains the documentation, or like it's user and community generated docs on how to make this work. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a pretty small change to facilitate this functionality.
Great. Thank you, Frankie. Any comment, question about this proposal? No. Okay, so seems like that's it in terms of RFCs, unless you have something additional. So we will move to the next item, CMV updates and questions. Yeah, the only update that I was able to find from last week was the new pack release. A couple of changes there, but seems like it's not too much. And yeah, as Ryan said previously, it seems like all releases are beta releases there. So yeah, just to mention a new pack release. Is there any upstream update that you're aware of that you'd like to share here? No. Okay, next up, the project update. .NET Core Buildpack includes SBOM support. That's great.
Yep, we just released that right now. So it's newly available for folks to try out.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll make sure to blast it out so they can try it. That's great. Thank you, Sophie. Okay, is there anything else? Any topic you'd like to discuss here? Any update? Share? Okay. Well, thank you all for your time and hope to see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.